Hi everybody, I'm Renee Dee. Welcome back to another episode of Renee Dee-IY, where I learn from the experts how to do things that I want to do, and I bet you want to know how to do too. So we are here today with Nicki Pepin, who is a hobbyist baker for the last 15 years, but has been baking professionally for 7 years and has had a little stint on the Food Network. So I know I'm in good hands today to learn how to make royal icing for sugar cookies.
Yes, thank you. I'm so excited. Making cookies are my favorite, and I love working with royal icing. It's sort of simple to make. I think it's easy to make. It's an easy step-by-step process, but it's a little temperamental and gets a little getting used to, but I think we're gonna do just fine. I think you're gonna pass with flying colors.
Yay, good. I wanna know how to do this.
Yeah, it's actually the most simple recipe you can imagine. There's just 3 ingredients, 4 if you're feeling fancy. 4 cups of confectioner's sugar, 3 tablespoons of powdered meringue, 1/4 cup of room temperature water, and if you'd like, you can use extract to flavor it, any flavor that you'd like. However, I recommend using a concentrated extract because the amount of liquid you use in a royal icing really affects its consistency, and adding too much liquid as like your regular vanilla, like a few drops of this is the same as a few tablespoons of vanilla, so it really keeps the consistency pure. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix it all together. I'm gonna put the dry ingredients with the dry and sort of just sift it together. So all of our dry ingredients are there, and I'm gonna add, it doesn't look like much water for all of that, but it's gonna turn into this really thick ball of paste, and then over time the meringue, it will whip up into these very firm peaks and turn into that sort of typical meringue texture. So I'm gonna get this started. I'm gonna whip it on high for 7 to 10 minutes, and you're just gonna let it go, and then we can get ready to decorate in the background.
That's perfect.
Okay.
So how do we know when this is ready?
So you know that it's ready when you have stiff peaks. And a stiff peak looks just like this. When I lift up this whip, it stays like a perfect little mountain peak.
Okay,
so
yeah.
That's a stiff peak.
Yeah.
If it starts to slump over a little bit, it's too soft, and you would either whip it a little more, or you added too much water and you have to add a little bit more powdered sugar. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to just water this down a bit. Just a tiny, tiny bit. I just wanna, just little by little by little. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this, let's see. So I cut it like that. See how it's immediately going back like that?
Yeah.
And now it's almost completely gone?
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay.
So we're going to create an outline of the cookie that creates a dam, and then we're gonna flood inside of it. So without doing that dam, all of the icing would just sort of
Go off the side.
go off the side and ruin the counter. Yeah. Okay.
Should not have had that espresso right before this.
So I'm gonna do a little squeeze all around the edge.
Oh, you have got steady hands. Okay, here I go.
Okay.
Okay, so everybody, this is going to take a little practice. You
It
don't
takes
get
practice.
it on the first try.
It's
Just let
really
me
hard.
Just tell you, and I can't look up and say anything. You can't quite get it on the first try. You need to practice this just a little bit. Look at this. This is funny. Okay, come on.
So to fill it, you're gonna follow the line of the dam, and you're gonna flood it. And you're just gonna go around and around. It doesn't have to be perfect, and I'm gonna show you why. Because it should, if it's the right consistency, it should sort of flood into itself, okay? And I can even just sort of like tap it and shake it, and it'll sort of just become one mass of icing.
Okay.
So this is called a cookie scribe, and it's basically just like a little quill. I like to use toothpicks because I'm often using a ton of different colors, so I just throw them away. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the scribe, and I'm gonna, wherever the icing didn't go, I'm just gonna move it. I'm just gonna encourage it to go where I want it to go. So wet on wet is just that. I'm gonna put more icing into the icing I already have. So if you wanna just do little dots, it will absorb into it. Okay, so if we save the other half of that cookie though, this is I love this.
Okay.
You wanna use 2 different colors for these stripes. Okay, so I'm gonna do a stripe like this. So if I take this toothpick, I can go like this.
Ooh.
And create this sort of swirl marble effect, this sort of zigzag. once they dry, we can decorate them further. And some examples, using just the techniques that we just did, here's some cookies that you can do. So wet on wet doesn't have to just be layering the wet, it can be putting them next to each other. So now that they're dry, now you can really make things beautiful. This is really fun because it has alcohol. Now you cannot ever put water on royal icing, it will disintegrate. So the higher the alcohol content, the better because it evaporates. Okay, so I've got a little bit of alcohol here. Now this is one of my favorite products. This is edible highlighter, and this is 24 karat gold luster dust. It's edible gold. And so it will make it very, very shiny, and it comes in like a powdered sort of...
It's pretty.
Yeah. You put a little bit in the lid, and a little bit of this in that, so you get a little bit on here.
Oh, nice.
And you just go like that. Boop, boop, boop.
I'm so
Done.
making these.
Done.
Okay.
And you can do that with regular food coloring. It doesn't have to be metallic. It can just be a little food coloring and a little alcohol. And you could also use the food coloring and the alcohol to actually paint if you wanted to paint like some watercolors onto the royal icing once it's
You know
dry.
what this is? This is the Pollock of cookies right here.
It is! It totally is. That's
Very pretty.
Stunning.
I could make these for a wedding for
You
somebody.
could. You
So
could.
cute.
And you could pipe like the little flowers and like the monogram on there. It would be perfect. So that's just a really easy decorating technique for something simple that doesn't involve any extra icing. But using this alcohol with food coloring or with petal dust or luster dust like this, you can use it as just paint on royal icing. But I just always remember no water. No water ever, because it will just completely disappear.
Well, this is awesome. Thank you so much. I feel like I've
you.
upped my game on learning how to make
know.
cookies. Okay, everybody, I'm making these next week, so
It's
hold me
beautiful.
accountable. Really cute. They're super pretty.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
spending time with us, and
Thank
thanks
you.
for showing me how to make royal icing. And so for everybody who's following this video, check us out on iconiclife.com where you'll find the recipes. Check us out on social at Your Iconic Life, and you'll get all these tips in the story. And if I can do it, so can you. So until next time, thanks for joining us.